Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel. And the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Well, you know folks, I've never really been a fan of small pocket pens. I find that I don't end up using them. Typically, I don't put my pens in my bag, nor do I put my pens in my pocket. I use a pen case, I put them in my briefcase. And I use them at home. So these pocket pens, I've got a bunch of them, but I don't end up using them. But maybe this one will be different. I don't know. We're going to take a look at it. I have not written with it. I know that it's the clone before the Grail. And Hemingway Jones will forgive me for this, I'm sure. But having said that, and maybe Wes Anderson will forgive me, but here it is. It's the Hoohill Pico. The what, you may say? Yeah, the Hoohill Pico. Be right back. Now, I've shown this pen during my weekly recap, but I didn't do a detailed review then. I figured I'd do it separately, so here it is. It's in this little box, but before I open that box, I want to show you the secret's out of the bag already. This is a clone. Some people would say a counterfeit or a fake of the real, but I think it's a clone of the real one. And I want to start out with the real one. And so go to my computer. Here's the real one. It's the Wes Anderson for Mont Blanc, the Scribbling limited edition 1969 fountain pen. Folks, it's selling at Mont Blanc, Canada for $3,445. That is amazing. And here is the pen. As you can see, it looks like it's a nice nib. It comes in a juicy little green box, and that's the real thing. And I believe that this is what my friend Hemingway Jones has been waiting for. I think he bought the pen last autumn, if not before. They promised to deliver it to him in March, and he has yet to receive it. But here is what I found on AliExpress. So it comes in this little box, steel box. It's a thin box. It says there, make writing a pleasure. Here's a couple of cartridges, and we'll get to that in a second. There's a nice little pen sleeve. Okay. There's some writing instructions, some instructions probably to fill. And here it is. Here's the pen. Now, mine comes with a bunch of other stuff. It comes with a converter. It comes with a little syringe to fill, I guess, what the cartridges. Here's the pen, and the pen has two barrels. So it has a small barrel and a big barrel. Now, one thing that I've noticed right away is that I'm not sure what happened here, but I already have chips on it. I'm sure the real one won't have that. Chip there, a chip there, chip there. There is a little chip there. So, you know what, folks? Unless you handle it with extreme care, it looks like this thing, the paint's chipping right off this pen. But here it is. Interesting little pen. And it unscrews to get you the other barrel, but it opens up. There it is. That's the little nib. It's a small size, number 5 size nib. It does post by screwing it in. And this unscrews. So you can put in, I guess, the smaller version of it. Okay, I don't think the real one has this. I think the real one is this. It's the small version that screws in nicely and gives you a writable pen. But take a look at that. I mean, it's just, so that just by in and of itself may be enough to discredit the whole thing if it hasn't already. Now let's take the bigger barrel, because I want to write with a cartridge converter. So we'll install the converter. And does it install? Let me just see if it fits. First of all, yes, nice and tight. And that screws in this way. Now the pen without this other does write with this bigger barrel. And there it is with the bigger barrel. Okay. And it does screw in so it posts. And when you do, it's much bigger. A little heavy. It's metal. I don't know what the real one is like. I don't know if it's metal or acrylic or special resin. That section doesn't appear to be as slippery as it looks. And I'm curious to see how this pen writes. It is a little weighted there, so it sits nicely. Nice and thin, though. Very thin. So there you have the pen on the outside. It's got that finial. Thank goodness they haven't gone as far as copying the Mont Blanc logo up there. It looks like it has a similar kind of a ring there as the real one. There you have it. I think that's about it. Now, what I got here is a bunch of empty cartridges. And at the start, I figured, what, they gave me empty cartridges? But I guess they're giving me empty cartridges because they're giving me this to fill them. But I can only fill one at a time. So I probably would have preferred that these cartridges were at least filled. But they're not. So in any event, we'll put that away. There we go. We'll put that away. We'll work with the bigger version. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this thing up. And we're going to do a writing sample eventually. But first, before I do that, I like to compare it with some other pocket pens that I have in my collection. So I will be right back. Okay, so we're back with the comparison of the. I have chose maybe some of the more interesting pens, pocket pens that I have in my collection. This is, of course, the Kaweco Brass Sport. We have a Gravitas pocket pen right here in Ultem. That's the subject pen. The Dieman M. Wait a minute, I keep forgetting. Is it the M2 or the M1? I think it's the M2. Let me just make sure. Where is it written? M2, which to date is probably my favorite because of the nib. This is the Majon X1, which is a clone of the Bohème, Mont Blanc Bohème, and then of course you got your TWSBI Mini there. So these are the pens capped. Okay, here are the pens posted, and as you can see that the subject pen is probably the longest of them all. it even almost beats just by a few millimeters the gravitas, which is the only one that has a number 6 size nib there. So there you have it. It's a good size, comfortable in the hand so far. That's the pens posted. Now here are the pens unposted and uncapped, and as you could see, the M2 and even the Gravitas are not extremely useful when they're uncapped and unposted, I find. The rest are doable. I think you can write with all the rest of them, but there you have the pens. And, typically these pocket pens are meant to be written with posted, and most of them do. In fact, that's the name of the game. So there you have the pens uncapped and unposted. Now we will do some measurements and then get to the right example. Okay, I'm back for the writing sample. First of all, the paper I'm going to be using is this Yamamoto paper. It's Tomo River, the original. And the ink I'm going to be using is this Ongdian blackish green. Great inks, these Ongdian inks, not too expensive. And I'm quickly running out. Notice I'm going to have to get refills. That green ink in my swatch book, you could see it. Where is it? Here it is. So Ongdian blackish green, there it is. Kind of looks a little bluer on the camera than it actually is, but you shall see how it writes. So let's get going here. Really not happy with the fact that this pen is already all nicked up, but having said that, hopefully this nib will please me. So this is the Hoohill Pico. Now, yeah, okay. There's not much more to say there. The nib is a number 5 steel. Doesn't have any branding that I recognize, but it is a medium. So far it writes more like a fine. The ink is Hongdian. Blackish green. Yeah, I mean, first of all, this nib is fairly wet. It's smooth, writing really nicely, but I find it extremely stiff. There's just no give there, guys. I mean, there's no line variation whatsoever. A little feedback. Reverse writing. Yeah, fairly doable. You get an extra fine line there if you do. But I just don't like the fact that it has absolutely no spring. And we're going to compare it to, actually we'll do the comparison later on. Likes and dislikes. Well, it's already chipped. So I've got a feeling that whatever they put on this hasn't been done properly, because if it chips that easily, you know, the nib, it's a stiff nib. A little too stiff to my liking, to the point where I think this medium writes more like a fine. Well, I like the design of it with the two barrels. Barrels, 1L, 2Rs. Anyway, forgive me. And I guess the other dislike is that it's a clone. Some people might not like that. Very comfortable pen. I like the fact that you can put, it's a cartridge that you can fill up, but it's a full-size converter. Unlike some of the other pocket pens where you're stuck with a mini converter, and even the Dieman that I'll show you in a second. Okay. I was hoping that this nib would kind of sway me and allow me to forget these chips on the barrel. But I'm looking at them, afraid to touch them. I don't know if I'll be able to do any touch-ups. But I don't think that nib is nice enough to, sway me to recommend this pen. If you're going to buy a pen and then it starts chipping on you, and I hardly used it, all I did is filmed with it. So there you have it. I cannot give it a go, unfortunately, because of that. Now, if we're going to compare it, just to give you, so far, I think that my favorite, because I do ask the question in my opening introduction video, will this be the pocket pen of the year? So far, I don't think it really beats this M2. Now, I got to tell you, the M2, I noticed, does have some scratches on the barrel as well, but it's brass, and it doesn't show as much as those chips on that dark green barrel. But this is the Dieman. I mean, take a look at this nib. M2. I mean, this nib has got some spring to it, much wetter. Okay, so far, this Dieman nib beats it. Now, give me a second. I'm going to see if I could play around with that nib just a tiny bit to see if I can achieve a real medium line. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All I did is really use one of my shims here. Usually I try to get like 4, the number 4 to even the number 5. I could only fit number 3 in there, but I did, and let's see if the result is better. Oh yeah. That is really nice. And all of a sudden it's got a little bit of jump. Well, folks, right out of the box, I did not enjoy the writing experience, but if you just play around with it just a little bit, very wet, very nice. So at least the nib is not a total disappointment. It's okay with tuning. Pretty constant. So you know what? At the end of the day, is it a go-to pen? It's a comfortable pen. But that chipping, creates some doubts in my mind. I guess I'm going to have to leave that up to you folks. Do you want to spend $45 and get your pen chipped that way? It's certainly not $3,445, and I'm hoping, and I'm sure the Mont Blanc won't chip that way. If it does, it would be a disaster. So it's a no-go for me, folks, because of that chipping. There you have it. There you have it. I was hoping that nib would salvage the whole affair. It's a pity because it does give you an idea of what, I guess, I got to tell you folks, I'm not sure what all the fuss is about. I fully realize that this is not, what the real thing will probably, not probably, what the real thing is. But to put, I know there's only 1,969 of these real ones. But why this pen would, in whatever shape, form, and whatever it's got going for it, would cost $3,445 is beyond me. But because it's limited, I guess, that's where the value is. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. Take care and have a great week. Ciao.